And welcome back to Bitcoin Advisors channel. My name is Chris here, and I'm going to bring you some cryptocurrency news, some Fed news, and just a little market update as we just had the monthly close. So Jerome Powell, basically what he said yesterday is, hey, we're on target. Don't worry. We could get a soft landing. The Fed's going to moderate and slow down the rate hikes, and they don't want to tighten too much, right? So they said the terminal rate should be above 4.6% instead of above 5.2 or around 5.2% next year. So here's what it feels like to me, and I could be totally wrong, but just like he said, inflation would be transitory back in December, I think last year. He's giving the institutions the last chance to offload their stocks. And here's what I'm talking about right here. As we have been following, this is in a downtrend, and anything, really lower than this high is just going to be a bear market rally. And I would suspect that we get some selling pressure at the top side of this trend line. And that will depend upon the dollar. And I do say this, if the dollar does take another little leg down here to this green bottom side of this green box, in fact, with a tick below that, call it 103.50, and the dollar probably does tag 101.30, but I think this is going to hold. We'll probably get a bounce here. And what does that mean? So if dollar is going to put in a bounce or go down a little bit more, right? Let's say we tag the bottom side of this trend line here. I would suspect that NASDAQ and S&P both hit this one, S&P is already hitting the top side of the trend line. And maybe they do like the Dow is doing right now. And that is, taking out this high, but hasn't taken out this high yet. So we could get a little Santa Claus rally. I mean, look, Dow's rebounded quite nicely, but it's all in, the dollar's hands. I'd say the dollar would be ruling the market right now. We had the monthly bearish divergence playing out, and the dollar could come all the way down to 101.83 if it really got volatile. And I'd say it depends more upon the economic data that's going to come out. I did mention the monthly close. So here was the monthly here. We are crossed down volatility. So a mean reversion bounce, and, this thing can stay bullish as long as really we are closing above $99. So, that would just be another higher low, and you would expect a higher high, and eventually that 120 target to get hit. So we'll see what happens. Monthly time frames take a long time to play out. So I do suspect, this region 102 probably does get tagged at some point. So probably a little bit of up and a little bit of down, just to, mess with everybody. And that could be the end of the year. It seemed like Powell did want to kind of fluff the market for the end of the year and give it some exuberance. Some buy the dippers are out there, and bond yields are coming down a little bit off this news. And so you got the 30-year back at 3.67 and the 10-year back at 3.5. And really, these things just had a macro breakout as well. So, we are getting a tick below here. So looks like 30-year could come down a bit more. That would grease the market. 2-year and downside could be about 363. So as bond yields go down, it could be bullish for the market toward the end of the year, giving us a little bit of a Christmas rally. Again, if inflation, we have a spike in inflation or something crazy like that, another black swan event wouldn't be good. But more and more things are lining up for a bit of a bounce, but overall macro bearish. And we use something called the accumulation, and I have a meeting here in about 5 minutes, so this is going to be a short one today. But the accumulation distribution indicator on the monthly time frame, which credit to Mr. Crown pointing this one out. Great TA. And I use a different chart than he uses, but this is what I'm coming up with right now. Where's that chart? Mr. BLX. Here we go. And I'm probably going to have to cut this short. There it is. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just highlight the macro shifts in direction by using, and notice also we had another, monthly, we haven't crossed up on the monthly. That would be great for, and that does look like a bit of a bounce here, going to come in a backfill on BLX. This is just an index though, so I don't know how much I trust that. But let's see, the slope direction remain negative, right? So what we want to see is a positive slope shift that leans the odds to the bears. And what we've seen is, look, when we get a extreme green or red read and then a shift in the slope, either positive or negative, it has correlated with macro shifts in direction. So this is just one underlying market dynamic that we look at. The other one that we are going to look at is on the weekly time frame, the hash ribbons indicator. We want to see a blue buy signal on the weekly, or the daily time frame. That would start it off. So we got the capitulation signal right there on the hash ribbons indicator, and we're crossing to the downside. So basically blue buy signal, shift in direction on the monthly time frame, and that'll be one of the indicators we'll take a look at down the road, but we're not quite there yet, in my opinion. And that's, again, why I think, the macro low, so to speak, isn't quite in. Putting back on the regular charts. And again, so we'll be looking for this to, get a positive slope. I wonder on the weekly if it's positive. Yeah, on the weekly, we are positive, lining up for the bounce we've kind of been talking about. And it does look like, Bitcoin more likely than not heads up to about 18.5. And what I'd be looking for is the higher term time frames to turn around. And what I'd be talking about on that, let me get my regular chart up. And I've got about 2 minutes. So what I'm talking about there, and you can see, the daily did catch this one, low volatility, crossed up, and now we're getting an expansion. So where does the lower high typically come in? Around that green 55 or the 618. So as long as the dollar doesn't play out a macro bounce right now and really start to pull up, I would expect, Bitcoin to trade sideways and up. And then I'll be looking for that next lower high and kind of judge it from there. As long as we're not back above 21, 3 or 21.5, there's no real threat of an upside move, in my opinion. Not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. And Ethereum's going to do whatever Bitcoin does, but more, and did get a bit of a bigger bounce. It seemed like all the way up to the green 55, and it's kind of, lower, higher, not now. So again, it's in the hands of the dollar and the stock market, in my opinion. Any bad economic data coming out regarding inflation, or maybe they come out with a higher than 50 basis point rate hike and shock the market, that would be very bad for markets. Other than that, I think that's it for today. I hope you guys have a blessed and highly favored day, and I'll check in with you tomorrow. Take care.